All right. My name is Bruce. Hi, hello, everybody. This is our Tablebreakers stream for Thursday night. We have to my right Shadow and Sun and Jade on the top row. Chimerian, who is currently Chimerian is selling NFTs of his Gloria, some host of them. So anyway, other than that, we have Garrett Baron G-Rock down there, and Connell, the Cigar DM. Tonight's topic is an interesting discussion. We were going to talk about religion and politics, but in discussions, the betas did not like the theory crafting that was going on. They burned down some poor DM's Dungeon Master screen. So we're going to talk about something else, and that's moral dilemmas. A nice, safe topic. We can wrap our players in bubble wrap and just get them on that treadmill to becoming fatter, like a WoW game. All right.
Ow.
Safe topic. Ha 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 ha.
Aww.
Bubble wrap and then bubble wrap, a little bit of oil and fire.
Fantastic.
I need some saran wrap, some duct tape, and applesauce. Oh yeah.
But before I turn this over to Baron G-Rock, I want to say to the chat that's here, thank you for showing up. For those of you that just clicked on this and you're watching the replay sometime in the future, thank you. And if you guys like what we talk about here, if you really do enjoy our discussions, if you think this is really good, and you can use some of this in conversation later on, be it at a game table or while you're chewing the fat with somebody somewhere else, click like, share, and subscribe. Not in that order. If you like what we have going on here, at least do that. It'll help out the algorithm. If you don't like my face, just type that in the comment section, and I'm sure there will be a riot down there trying to burn down a Dungeon Master screen. Baron G-Rock,
Yeah.
Turn this over to you, sir.
So, mortal perils, things like examples. A giant monster can save your planet from being destroyed by a comet, but it's going to go to another world and then destroy that. Or you can you need to save the world from and in these haunted ruins is the key to stopping it. But if you go into the haunted ruins, you will release demons, and they will, basically live inside your mind for the rest of your life. Or, my most favorite one, because I've done something similar to this myself. You get an alliance with some demons to drive off an evil empire, invading your land. But if you do, they will set up an evil temple and multiply it rapidly. So, these are the type of moral dilemmas that we are looking at. That, okay, in order to get your goal here, what are you willing to give up to save the world? So I'm going to go ahead and start this with Chimerian. Kai,
Yes.
What have you ever crafted any of your stories around anything like this before in any of your games?
Yes, but I'm not sure where to start on this one. This is
Usually at the beginning.
In the beginning, especially about everyone was very angry afterwards. But no, it really just comes down to, for me, everything has it. There's always a moral dilemma to it. Sure, you find out that the evil villain that you were getting ready to declare, launch a D-Day level invasion on, well, you find out that they were actually manipulated by a bigger villain who was blackmailed into doing it. So do you forgive them for bio-bombing and melting an entire paladin order into fine green sludge that just kind of drip all over the walls? Or do you go, well, they really weren't responsible. They were the ones who were the originator of the bio bomb, and they are technically an evil nation. But do you really murder everyone because of the fact that someone even more evil who actually was malicious, was responsible for this, and have everyone sit back and go, well, crap, because they've just sold to the entire world that this is the bad guys. These are the ones who are really responsible. But then you find out what's really going on, and now they're going, well, we really can't just cancel the Grand Alliance, can we? Question mark. And then watch your players squirm immensely as you bet all your political capital on this one option, and then find out that the option's actually a bad option. But do you go through with it or not? And the answer to that one for that group was yes. We go through, we murder everyone, then we cover it all up, and then go after the real bad guys afterwards. And because we said we're going to do it, yeah, but no, I've done that. That's just one example. I love lacing everything to the point of, yeah, you can do this, but do you really want to? I mean, there is going to be complications to this. Or, yeah, you could support the current prince of this one kingdom, but you are supporting the Black Prince, and that's going to cause regional destabilization for a while, and that's going to have some problems. Or you could try to, not overthrow the entire current world order and, just murder the Black Prince. But the Black Prince is the honorable, honest, real leader of the area. We have to do it. And then watch players kind of waffle because you suddenly offer them choice. And suddenly players who are so used to playing games where you just kind of railroad them as the evil bad guy is the evil dark wizard of bad evilness, and he will spread darkness upon the land. So our options are do nothing or be good guys. And of course, every player's going to go, well, of course, do good guys. Be good guys. Go do hero things. But when you suddenly go, no, you're not really a hero, are you? Well, I think I'm a hero, but are you? And then you start getting into this moral gray area, justification, and wonderful play. Yeah, you can do it. It's fun.
All right, and Bruce, what about you? What type of? I'm going to kind of tweak the question a little bit, just with the way that Kai answered it, since he went first. What type of moral dilemmas do you tend to like to throw onto your players? Is there a certain one, or do you like to switch it up a little bit? Like how do you go into
I'm
that
a
and
real
build that?
fan of. Right now, I'm running a war campaign, and so I don't mind the NC-17 topics. I don't want Jack watching my game stream, even if his dad's playing a paladin. It's a nasty campaign that has the worst that we've seen historically happen in war happen in this fantasy world. And I mean, I'm not above having a character that. Sorry about this. I'm not above having a character that witnesses rape or gets it. And like the players have come across a couple different women with varying backgrounds that have gotten away from their captors. And the players have been really good gentlemen trying to just get them the therapy they need, the time, the healing. And I haven't popped it on them yet, but there's going to be a time where there's a crunch for time, and the players will bump into a situation that you just can't roll a 36 on your D20 with your plus 17 to your blah, blah, blah skill. And okay, it's solved. No, dude, it's not. You've got this person in front of you, and you have time, which is of the essence, and you don't have it in great amount. You don't have any luxuries. What do you want to do? And I love doing that. I love getting them in a bind and getting them crimped for time, and then having to give them a situation that requires a long diversionary tactic for them to go a long way around. Now, they might not succeed on their quote unquote their primary task there, but they might find out later that what they did when they did the right humane thing, they actually are gaining allies for a situation that will happen very soon enough, because they've been losing ground here and there, thinking they're gaining ground, and it's just a way that you have to craft your narrative, and you don't want to subvert your players' expectations. You want to give them an honest game every time you play, but you really want to force like a XCOM enemy within style choice on them. You have 3 emergencies right now. You can only handle one, which is your choice you will take. That's really the type of scenario that I want to run my players through, because I want them to understand we're losing ground on these 2 other fronts. So I hope those 2 other fronts are really nothing super strategic, and worse yet, you being a paladin won't lose your paladinhood by trying to ignore or trying to focus your efforts somewhere else. That's the type of game I really like.
Yes.
Thank you, Kai.
Distracting the paladin. I like it. I like it a lot. That's a surefire way to distract the paladin. Death. And Shadow's trying to defend himself, but he's muted, and nobody can hear him.
Thank you. I'm trying to do 2 things at once. I'm trying to paint like Bruce, but apparently I can't do both. So this is karma for me running that evil campaign all those years. I see how it is.
No. Think of it more as a test to see if you're actually as good as you think you are.
I'm better. That's the problem. He's just gonna fuck with me and make it like one of them switcheroo things. I see how you are, Bruce.
It's worth it in the end.
Oh, I know. Paladins are the most challenging and fun characters to play, in my opinion, because they are so hard to play. That's, anybody can run a freaking thief or a magic user. Well, maybe not a magic user.
I don't know about magic user, but I'll agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh no, I fully agree with you there, Shadow. I fully agree, and someday I'll get a chance to play a paladin, and I look forward to that day.
Yeah, it's kind of rewarding. I mean, I grew up, old school with heroes being heroes, and the first, fantasy hero I knew about was, the Knights of the Round Table, and I really haven't had the chance, but one other time to play a paladin, and I was so young, I didn't do well. I didn't lose my paladinhood, but I just lost my dungeon master. So
I guess it's my turn to answer that question there, Baron.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Yes,
I felt singled out there for a second. And,
you're gonna be singled out a lot this conversation.
Yeah, I can feel it coming.
It's okay.
Dun, dun, dun. We found a girl for you.
Oh my God!
I don't believe it. Disbelief.
Hold on, I'm taking. Whoa, Jesus! One little quick rate.
All right, so
Yeah, I can't see the chat, so.
That's hilarious. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Jesus. Sorry, Bruce. I can't zap him when I'm actually in the show.
No, it was actually on mine.
Oh, okay.
what?
Because I'm a moderator over on Bruce's channel, and normally I zap those things as soon as they come up.
Come on, Streambot.
No, my only stream bot I got on my.
Anyway, Connell, you were saying while he's fixing that?
I think moral dilemmas are interesting because you can take a you can take a swing at the paladin by saying your order is against drugs, prostitution, all the wicked things in life. Then give them a mission. It's like, hey, we need you to go get this paperwork. All we want you to do is get this scroll from somebody else and have them walk into a drug den and basically tell them, you're just here for the scroll, not to wipe the main drug dealer off. So it's always it's a very interesting catch on how you could do things like that. For moral dilemmas, for me, I mean, that's so flat in the face. I kind of like the twist at the end, where the entire game you think that you're on the good side. You brought up the round table, Shadow, and, and this also got brought up a couple days ago about the difference between American stories and European stories. Americans have this idealism that they deserve happy endings, where Europeans, we just get the ending that we get. So I think a well done campaign storyline is you get the twist at the end. It might be a twist you can live with, but it's still a twist. The dragon that you were off sent to go kill is actually the guardian of some ancient evil. It's the one that kept the evil in its place. Or a jewel that every time a person touches it, it releases some kind of greed, curse of greed on the person. So I like to switch it up a little bit at the end, so the players don't exactly know what they're getting into until it happens. Then they have to make the choice. It's like, okay, now that we killed the dragon and the dragon was actually the good guy, do we go against the person who sent us here? Or do we take its place? Do we destroy the jewel, or do we give it to the person, the king who told us to come pick it up? So that's normally how I handle things like that. Does that answer your question there, Baron?
Sure.
Sure, why not?
Got a $1.99, $2 super chat from Matt Barninger. Matt Barninger says, a paladin in an evil campaign is a rough go. Let me restate that. Let me get in proper character.
A paladin in an evil campaign is a rough go.
I disagree with that. Shadow, you muted.
What kind of a-hole DM is gonna put up with that, or allow that, or facilitate that? That just sounds like a really sadistic. I mean, that's just asking for problems. I mean, don't we have enough trouble as it is with our players to actually foster that idea?
I mean, I'm getting ready to join a game, a startup game, where I'm going to be playing a paladin, and it's going to be filled with a bunch of psychopaths. Like I already know I'm going to be joining a group of psychopaths, just because of the way I know some of them play. I can guess what every single person at the table is going to play just because I know them and I know what they play. So it's going to be very difficult for me playing a paladin in that group. And it's basically going to be a paladin playing with a bunch of evil, psychopaths. It can be done. It is a rough go.
Sure,
it can also be very fun.
I can understand, like one similarly aligned, but like a lawful evil and lawful good character in the same party. But, if you're like outnumbered, you might as well just, lay down and let them kill you, because that's what's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, that fucking doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? If you're outnumbered like 3-1, how do you sleep?
With one eye open?
Soundly, because I have faith. Because when I'm playing a paladin in that kind of scenario, I have faith in the god, or the person running the gods, the GM, to either not allow that to happen. The god wakes me up, before the knife comes down. B, if they do get away with it. The next character I'm going to be bringing in is an inquisitor hunting those who killed a servant of the god, and it will be fire and brimstone.
That's weird, because I told Bruce that if my paladin dies, I'm making up an inquisitor, right, Connell?
Yeah.
So great minds think alike.
the GM who allows me to do this is in full support of PvP when it's warranted, not when it's unwarranted. So in that instance, if I was to bring in a Inquisitor to travel with the party and they tried, doing the same thing to the Inquisitor, they would literally have the wrath of God upon them, and there would be no mercy because the GM doesn't interfere with dice rolls. The dice roll as they roll. So I know that scenario. I'm getting ready to play in a scenario like that. Hopefully they'll actually listen to reason rather than just be fucking murder hobos. But I know the group I'm getting into. They're probably just gonna be murder hobos.
There's murdering hobo going on, and I wasn't invited. Now,
yeah. So I do say that it can be done, but it is you are right. It is difficult. Yes. If I'm going to die, I'm going to take everyone with me, or I will have a character that will avenge me.
avenge me, see biscuit to avenge
I
me.
missed John's comment. What did John say?
Shauner said, "If I'm going
Yeah, there
to
it goes.
die,
Okay.
if I'm going to die, I take everyone else with me." That sounds like a silver line.
If I'm going to die, I take everyone else with me.
I'm a firm believer in actions have consequences.
Sometimes.
Oh no, all the time. All actions have consequences, whether good or bad.
I know.
So, anyway, who's up next there, B?
That
me.
would be Shadow. Lay it on us. Especially in your evil campaign, I would expect that you would have some very good moral dilemmas to throw in.
Well, no, it's an evil campaign. It's an evil campaign. There are no morals, so there are no dilemmas. However, mind you, that's my main game that's going on for a very long time, 20, 30 plus years now. And I don't get to play it as often as I'd like, mostly because the distance and stuff like that. But I had another game that ran concurrent with that one, and sometimes intermixed, because it's all in the same intergalactic universe campaign that I run. And the other group was literally like a group of superheroes that constantly had these kinds of issues, but they were usually smaller ones. Do I rescue this person or do I rescue this person? Because I got a limited amount of time, and they would have to just, pick one and watch the other one die. It wasn't really, it was more of a slugfest action kind of thing. Not a lot of thinking involved for most of the players. I was trying to get them into a completely new kind of, not just game system, because we were going from D&D to Palladium, where they had, more defined alignment and character types that were, vastly different than what they were used to. It was, the superhero game genre, which, I happen to be doing a month-long thing on right now. I just did a V&V, Villains and Vigilantes review. It for the most part, it's usually, do I rescue this person or do I rescue this person? And I got right now to do it, and you just have to make the call, and it really, for them, it just always boils down to numbers. Sure, there's a little kid here about to get hit by a train, but there's a school bus over here about to fall off a cliff. They have to go for the school bus. Sorry, little kid's gonna get hit, and the school bus they got to save. It's usually just the numbers game for us, where they could do the most good. It's pretty straightforward for the most part when I do that. With the other group, if they were playing good characters, then I could throw something a little more vague and a little more detailed and complex of which is the right decision. But with the other group, they're kind of basically noobs, so I can't really pull that kind of trickery on them.
But you should.
Yeah, I should.
I mean, they're evil, right?
I'll know when they're ready. I'll know when they're ready.
All right, so now with this, a lot of people compare this to like Star Trek's, Kobayashi Maru, kind of the no-win scenario for the players. Now with this, do we actually give them a way to cheat the system and kirk it, or do we allow it to run its course, and what it does? We're going to start with Bruce this time around.
See, I'm always a fan of just letting everything happen naturally. And if a character's inclination naturally says, all right, at about 2 in the morning, young James T. Kirk is going to enter the room with the young, hot Orion former slave girl, now Starfleet cadet. And after some torrid lovemaking, he will instead give her a small chip to insert in the USB Type-C port at approximately 10 a.m., 1 hour before he goes in Kobayashi Maru test. And he will tell her, I need you to do this for me. It's very important. And then he pursues natural lovemaking. Roll a natural 20. Very good, Mr. Kirk. All right, you do very well. And at about 3:30 in the morning, you both pass out, and you wake up at 5, and you go back to your room to wake up at 7 for your Kobayashi Maru prep test. And then at 11 is the big show. I would, if it's his natural inclination to cheat his ass off, go ahead. There are some people that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, they're going to bend the rules, and sometimes they're going to fucking look at the rules, look for cameras that are watching them, and do something against the rules anyway. You can't stop that. You can't. You might be a DM, but if the player is going to behave mischievously, if the player is going to say, I'm playing my character, and they do something that really just like, your God is displeased. If they do something that makes a moral quandary later, they're going to do it. Sometimes players just want the attention. Sometimes players are acting like that stripper you found 7 miles out of Killeen, and she's never had a daddy figure in her life, and here you are.
You swore you would never tell.
All right. So anyway, I'm just saying, you run the game that you want to run. I would prefer to have my players go through some exploration, go through some investigation, some information gathering, and then start formulating a plan to conquer what situation they're currently in. But I don't have that table all the time, and neither do you. So as a DM, you've got to play the game as best as you can. And if one of your players does something that's against the rest of the table, you got to smile and just go with it. You're not a player in a game. You're the DM. And it's your facility that provides them a reason to come back again and again and again. No matter what happens, you as a DM, you're not responsible for other people. You're not responsible for their feelings or for their actions. You run the best game you can. And you can do that by planning ahead. You can do that by, in all actuality, having a few bullet points written down so you can go to something if you get stuck against a wall. You have an out, you have an option. And no matter what, even if the player does something that you don't want them to do, Harry Dresden pissed off Karen by not giving her the information firsthand when he could have quickly had the Chicago PD's paranormal division help him on his current situation, but instead he kept it for himself and got arrested. All right, fine. Roll with it. You have to play the game no matter what. Your players will make decisions, and it's your job to be quick on your feet and react. Your best choice in that action is to actually have items written down as to what they might do, and then just go and improvise from there. That's all I can say.
Connell.
If I got a player, let's say, I don't know. I agree with what Bruce more or less said. Players are going to end up doing what they want to do. But at certain times there are especially in 3.5 days, there were more books than there was common sense. Pathfinder has unfortunately gone that way as well, where the player
Noted definition.
Heretic.
Pathfinder's gone that way, where a player can use all the rules in the book and still make a broken character because they know what areas to bend, which one will flex. I'm a level 15 rogue assassin or whatever, and God himself can't find me because I knew all the right abilities to take, all the right feats to take, all the right gear. So
You don't have immunity to grapple. You don't have a very low touch AC. So before somebody starts going off like, I'm 15th level rogue, I can evade anything. You can call me Teflon Donnie. I will slip right through. Man, let your players say that. Let them belt it out. Let them be that boastful bastard. But then go ahead and hit them with something different. And with something different, Evard's Black Tentacles of Forced Intrusion is usually a good choice.
I kind of like Mirrors of Opposition. I mean, that's how I made a broken character and the DM can't do anything about it. Ha! Look into this mirror. Fuck.
Okay, what is this shit I'm hearing? You're the DM. I just say you got hit. You got hit. I don't need rules. Have you guys not played any of the older versions? I don't have to abide by rules. I'm the DM. If I say you get hit, you get hit. I don't got to explain myself.
That's kind of like that forbidden big dick maneuver that you're not supposed to use. That really is.
If a character's going to come off like that, then I think you're honor bound and justified in pulling any crap like that if they're trying to do the same thing. If they want that power, they should just dungeon master.
No. There are ways out there for players to bury themselves by unearthing books that they probably shouldn't use to create their character. I'm not
But
gonna.
don't you have the right to say what is and what isn't legit, or is it become a rules as completely environment?
You absolutely do, but the thing is that I'm not a fan of saying because I said so, you took damage, or this Bobby over here shot you. I don't like that. I really don't. If you want to, if anybody wants to run that way for their table, that's great. But I typically will try to back up an action that happens in my game world to where the players can look and there's a chain of events that happen that led up to this. So, like, you heard a die roll and you see a 20 or a natural 19 roll on the fucking table breaker whenever I throw it on camera.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like saying because I said so, you just took magic missile damage. I'm not a big fan of that, especially if my players just saw me throw down D10s and magic missiles die 4+1. But you, the GM, at your own table, you can say exactly what happens. And if the player takes damage, or if they built an unkillable character in their opinion, and then you drop a Mirror of Opposition, or they drop into a room that's had they break into a room that's had 5 years with an unstoppered magic item that does nothing but produce smoke. Well, I don't really think you're going to be able to get out of this one. You're taking con damage from all the smoke inhalation.
Oh
And
no! Just drop a pack of green slods on them, Bruce.
Oh man, poor Carl. I'm just saying that, like, in Shadow, I would like to hear a response as to when is it time as a DM for you to lay down that big dick move?
Whenever I feel like it. I mean, if a player's going to do the things that you've described, one, I would never allow them to begin with. They can't make a character that has what you're talking about, has the ability to tell me how the game is going to run and how the rules are going to be adjudicated. They don't get that right. They can tell me, certain things, but that's, they don't tell me they're going to roll a die. I tell them when to roll a die. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not, if they want that kind of power, I will gladly swap places with them and see how they pull it off. But if they're going to come to my table, they're not stealing the show, and two, they're not going to bring that kind of divine intervention down on everything around them, including the rest of the people at the table.
Yeah, because the thing I'm seeing here is that it took you years to put this table together, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so when you have somebody come in with a character, be it a new player or an older character, and they're pulling shenanigans like this,
They can't pull that kind of stuff because one, I've been there every step of the way, and I know their characters as well as they do. I'm not letting someone come in from outside with a new character that I don't know anything about, with rules and mechanics that are alien to the game I'm already running. So that those kind of things don't happen in Palladium and AD&D. There aren't these ways to game the game, so to speak. There are no feats, there are no traits, there are none of these abilities. There's just basic, simple, character classes with set abilities and percentages, etc. There's no way to pick and choose these things that allow them to try to, come up with something or build, as you guys say. It just doesn't work that way.
Well, that's the
beauty of the games that I run. Yeah, there's none of that.
That's fine for the systems that you run, but if you go back to 3X and that's fine. You basically are playing 3X right now.
I understand that, but I'm playing it. I'm not running it.
Right. But
which is
if you find the rhythm how 3X runs or Pathfinder runs with the rules and the feats and everything, you're not technically breaking any rules. You're playing by the rules as written. You just found a way to flip the script on the DM harder than what he was expecting.
Basically, you were able to find the synergies of everything.
Right, that's why I see, up until I guess 3X or whatever, there were never any feats or other choices that the player. Stick around, Janet. We'll show you. Or maybe.
Whoa, this is a family show.
This is a Wendy's.
I'm just saying.
There were no options.
I've got a few options. No,
there were no options for players to do these kinds of things up until third edition. You couldn't do it in second. You couldn't do it in first. Couldn't do it in any type of D&D prior to that.
You could do it.
You couldn't do it in Traveler. What?
You could do it in second.
Yeah, there were the drow. Somebody loves to drow out their character or at their table, and suddenly they're running a drow campaign because everybody fucking starts running drow characters.
Again, those were only choices if the DM allowed that nonsense to begin with. If you just go with the basic core player's handbook, there were very few choices that the player had that could create something like what you guys talk about.
I'll be quiet again. I'm sorry.
No, I want to hear it, Kai.
I guess because I was used to playing with groups that I've never been in a group where everyone's like player handbook only. We were even back in the second edition days, we had the mountains of like all the kit books and all the race books and all the other where you had weapon masters and and archmages. We had books books and books of wizards, books and books of encyclopedias of magic that were just stupidly large. We had books on gods, and every faith under the sun was possible. I didn't need feats to bring a character back then. Right kits, right weapon proficiencies.
Kai, you had players with money. Out of my 6 regular players, 2 owned books.
I know,
okay.
But our group, we had access between like the 8 of us combined. We had a library because all 8 of us went in on it, build a library. So for us,
again, mostly my players were playing Palladium.
There's no Palladium. Holy fuck! Sorry. When I think Palladium, I think Rifts, and Rifts we had what we refer to as the Ark of the Covenant of books, where it was a Tupperware tote that was in this big plastic tote that took 4 fucking people to pick it out of the trunk and carry it into the game, and then set it on the ground. So it's one of those things where you push open and someone goes, "Hey, I'm new to playing Rifts," and we get the Ark, and suddenly everyone's picking the Ark coming up, carrying it in, and then now remember, don't look into the box when we open it, or you'll die. And then books, many books, so many books.
Right, but once you pick a character, Kai, from Palladium, that's it. You're done. Your choices are done.
But even then, there's gear, other abilities, things to look at. There is so much to work with. There's always in every game.
All of which, I can say yes or no, and that's the end.
I understand. I understand. If I want to be a dick GM and just be like, fuck you, you all are going out into battle with whatever's in the player's handbook. You get to have whatever I fucking grant you and give you. My players are just like, whatever. I'm used to the idea of so what? If I have a player who manages to go, okay, so I'm playing a grandmaster a grandmaster at shooting darts because I read the one book that gives me all the cool advantages that makes and I can do more damage. The thing is that I think a lot of us focus too much on this mechanics thing, where we're always focused on character. My build is I don't give a I have players right now who, when it comes to combat, they can obliterate in one round some characters instantaneously, and I'm like, cool.
Sure.
And it doesn't bother.
A bit of that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. So fucking what? And it all comes down to at this point is, can you fucking role play? I don't care if you came in my game with the biggest, most thonkiest. I can do 300 points of damage in a single round. What can you fucking do? And I'll hit you because my combat bonuses are so high that I need to roll a 4 to hit.
It's not always about combat. Combat should be,
But the thing is, we're too focused on jerking off to combat. What do you fucking do? So what? You got a guy who can never fail at making a cool magic item. Cool. You got to realize that, okay, you still need the money. You still need the time. Well, I can't fail. So what? He can't fail. So what? The guy next to him is Trodor McSmashface, and when he casts Smite, he rolls to see if he rolls a 1. And that's all he's doing. And then what about his second attack in the round? Oh, he has to see if he's going to roll a 6. And then he has to roll an 11. Oh, fuck. Oh, we got to worry about. He might miss half the time on his third attack. Oh, fuck. What are we going to do? Or you can just enjoy letting that guy. Okay, cool. You know that when combat happens, Smash Face is going to Smash Face all his Smash Faciness over there, and things are going to die. So you just keep making sure that there's something going. If you figure out how to make it interesting.
With my evil campaign, there have literally been years where the players did not have to roll for combat individually in personal combat because their position they're just giving orders, so they're not really
Yeah.
In that where it is all role playing. The other parties that I was talking about, that's different. And again, not every group is going to do all the heavy reading and research and stuff like that. They go with what's handed to them and they make shit up and work things out on their own with what they have.
See, that also confuses me because I have never met a group that doesn't read. Dear God, I guess I'm used to groups who we provide access to like if I run a game and I have a book, one of my players asks for that book, I'm not going to say you can't have it. I'm going to make it available to you. Knowledge should be available. These things are a library is a library for a reason. Just because I don't want to be paid all the money for it doesn't mean I'm not going to let anyone else not you can look at it but never touch. I'm like, no, a lot of this shit. It's like,
yeah, I don't know how that happened.
And I guess because I come from a wonderful realm of people who I guess I'm going to change my avatar really fast to that where there is I don't have any money. Yarhar, the internet exists, and go upon the great seven seas and steal everything because half the game engines we're playing aren't published anymore. Just find the books. Well, you can buy them on Drive-Thru-RPG, and the people who wrote them are either dead or retired or aren't going to see money because the people who wrote that are long gone, and all you're going to do is give money to WotC. Fuck that. Just fucking take it. But
Max is often fond of saying, I have shitty players, and what I have are good friends. Friends that have been my friends for 30 plus years, and I'm not going to, force them into things that they literally can't afford or don't have the time for. Them showing up, after all the stuff that we've been through is enough. But I am out here on the internet, looking for new players and, more so than that, to actually get to be in games. I've been a forever DM for, decades, and it's only this last year I've actually been in games after the last game I was in was well over 25 years ago when a lot of the things you're talking about just didn't exist. The internet for gaming was not a thing. Players didn't go out and buy, every book available. The last DM I knew, he had about 10 books in his entire collection, and they were half Palladium, half D&D. So,
I guess
not everybody has the advantages other people do, I guess is what I'm saying.
I understand that, but now for people who, where congratulations, you only have a player's handbook and that's your entire experience. Cool. I have no idea how to relate to you. I really don't. Because I've always gamed with people who have access and realize when you say players who don't have money, you got to realize I GM for a bunch of high schoolers and teenagers and college kids. Do you think any of them have cash? No. So of course they're going to. It's your job as a GM to make sure your players have all the tools they need. If you only have a player's handbook and they only have a player's handbook, then that's all the tools you need. But if you have a cornucopia of information, why literally cut your players' tendons and make them be incompetent? I mean, so if you have all the knowledge and you're not sharing it, you're a dick.
No.
Okay.
I can't force them to read.
Hold on, guys. Let's draw this back in just a hair. Connell, did you have any more to add to your comment?
I would just going by turning brick back on said player by using a mirror or something of that nature, not what this turned into. But yeah, I mean, that's more or less what I was going to say. If I got a player that likes to cheat and is using all the rules, all the rules correctly, but just found the magical loopholes, there are magic items and other aspects in the game where you can turn it back on them. The mirror of opposition being one of them is where I was going with that.
Okay. Jade, do you, like, as I stated before, the whole Kobayashi Maru, when you set up these scenarios, are they basically unwinnable? One or the other is going to happen, or do you allow them to kind of try to figure out a way out of both situations?
So okay, I think that goes back to. See, I didn't actually answer your first question, and that might give some context here. So my villains, my big bads, my forces of opposition have layers. They have reasons for what they're doing. As everyone in the game world, NPC or otherwise, should have some kind of goal, some kind of reason for what they do. So my villains, they might set up scenarios so that they will win regardless of whether they die or not. Like, that is a possibility. So yes, I do have some of those Kobayashi Maru moments where there is truly no winning. I actually set up a scenario in which the players had to go, this was at like level 0 to level 3. The players had to hunt down a murderer in their town, and in doing so, they caught up to the murderer, and they don't know why the individual was doing this, but they ended up killing him with his own weapon. Somebody wrestled the knife away from him, and they lost their weapon in the fight. He had disarmed them, so they took his weapon, disarming him, and then stabbed him with it until he died. What they didn't realize was, even if he died by that weapon, the ritual was going to complete, regardless. They didn't know it. Didn't matter who died with that knife. The moment someone died with the knife, the ritual was complete. Period. So yes, I do have those Kobayashi Maru moments, but they are more event triggers to further the campaign or the plot along. That's how I use my Kobayashi Maru moments. They might be in a scenario where it seems unwinnable, but there's always a way. Like, I do leave ways out unless it is a kind of a thing of like, no matter what you do, you will be the cause of the thing that needs to happen. It's kind of like the grandfather paradox. You will be the cause, whether or not you might succeed in your goal, but the villain has succeeded in their goal. So yes, I do include those, and I actually love to include those moments because the players go, "Wow, we just fell for that, didn't we?" I go, "Yes, you did." And then they learn from that, and then they start looking for those scenarios, and they start like trying to like tiptoe around them until they realize, oh, if we go, if we backdoor this and come in from the other direction, we might still trigger the event, but we're going to have an upper hand or better positioning for when the hammer comes down, or when the sword of Damocles comes down upon our heads. We'll actually be in a better position to accept that. So most of my Kobayashi Marus are like the Kobayashi Maru. It's a teaching moment. It's if you do this, this is the result. So yes, I love Kobayashi Maru tests.
No.
A little yes, a little no. I've tried pulling crap like that, but I have on average a table of 6 pretty smart guys out there and gals, and they often, which is one of the reasons why I like them, is they come up with solutions to problems that I didn't think about. If it was just one-on-one, then you can focus on how your player, let's say, thinks. But when you've got a table of 5, 6 people and they're all thinking, different, possible solutions with their different, tools at hand, more often than not, my players come up with solutions that are just way out of left field, things I was never thinking, because, they're trying to, they'll think, okay, well, he wants us to do this, so let's do something else, but it has the same result. You catch what I'm saying? You following along?
Mm-hmm.
So they will basically, they'll come up with a solution that was not on my list of possibilities, and that's why I enjoy playing with these guys, because they come up with crazy ass shit that I would have never thought of.
Okay. So I believe. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
Truthfully, in that scenario, Shadow, I only have 3 outcomes. Doesn't matter what the PCs do. There are only 3 outcomes: a good outcome, a bad outcome, and a neutral outcome. Even if they do something completely off the wall, unexpected, completely unexpected, out of left field, like I never saw it coming, it still falls into one of those 3 categories. Either they succeeded, they didn't succeed, or they get the neutral outcome where, it's kind of a wishy-wash of, well, they didn't succeed.
Oh yeah, they're not
by
always
margins.
100%. They're not always 100%.
Right.
Perfect score on every situation. I'm just, trying to be general. I'm trying to, squeeze, 30 plus years of gaming. For 1 decade we played every freaking day. It's impossible for me to compile it all into, one
I think
simple.
we're all jealous.
Yeah.
Don't be.
day
Don't be.
for a fucking
I don't know about just. There was about 2-3
Yeah, I
years
know.
where we played 2 games every weekend, and that left me kind of burnt.
Yeah, that's why I've jumped around from system to system, and it was hell on relationship, and no, it's not always, great. Mind you,
But
a good part of that was, and that's why it kept feeding itself. But it's not always, there's such
but getting
thing
back
too
to my
much of a good thing.
getting back to my point of 3 possible outcomes, like there are only ever 3 possible outcomes: good, bad, neutral. And then you just kind of tweak the levels within each one of those based on what the player characters do. You don't need to, have 20 million branching paths before the players. You just need 3. And then you can fill it out based on what has happened.
And to copy.
Anyway, back to you, B.
I gotta say here, right behind what Jade said, whenever you are ending a chapter in your game, the players ask the question that ends the chapter, and either you answer it yes but, or no but. And if you can do that, everything's in the buts. Everything. If you give them the negative, no, but this happens instead, and just leave it there like a hanging Chad in Florida. Don't chase after it. Just let it sit there and let the players stew on that for a second. They're like, well, what happens? I'm not going to tell you. It's not until next game session when we go for what that but is. And they're like, fuck. And your players will do that, because when you end a chapter, when you end a game session like that, yes, but, or no, but, that's how you fill the seats. That's how you get them to come back.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get players to come back because you have given your players all the books, somebody to create magic items for them, infinite wealth. They're not going to come back to that. There's no agency. There's no urgency for them to come back and for them to slay the evil Dark Lord. They're not going to come back. If they see you again, they're like, oh, yeah, here's that chode of a DM that just, gave me everything. Ugh. Dude, don't do that, okay?
No.
Give them a reason to be adventuring. You give them those reasons, And whenever it's time to pack up, you give them one last statement, which leaves for the suspense. And that will get you to the next day that you get to play. I can almost guarantee you that's something that nobody does nearly enough. Hey, the multi-gun man, how you doing?
All right, but last but not least, Kai.
Kobayashi Maru, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you give them the no-win situation, or do you allow them to try to wiggle out of that no-win situation if A happens, B, type thing?
Okay, you got to remember, we're playing. We play a lot of games that have magical bullshit in them. I mean, there's always a fucking miracle. Even if you're not playing a fantasy magic system, there's always something weird that players can like. No matter how good I think I am at being able to go, ooh, this is an unwinnable situation, and no, I know I've not thought of everything. I'm not perfect. I'm not a genius. I'm not going to say my players can't. Someone's not going to open up their notebook and go, where I go, the situation is this. There's the evil dark dragon who's literally behind everything, and they have been manipulating everything. You know this now. And do you 5 people think you can take on this dragon on top of a volcanic mountain and fight through its fortress? And the party goes, yeah, we could engage in a multi-month brutal slog fest, finding our way up the mountain and to go fight the dragon finally and save creation. Or they open their notebooks because they realize that I do provide a lot of stuff, and then go, you guys tend to forget about all of these treasures and all these people that that are friends of yours, and then they just sit back and go, you know what? I think it's time to call in every single favor we've ever made. And suddenly I go, I forgot I gave you all that shit, or I forgot you knew that guy, but I'm not going to punish you for me forgetting it. And then suddenly it's like, oh, hey, look, the players go, they're the ones lighting lighting the fires, going, hey, bad shit's going down. We need help. And I didn't expect them to do that. Would I call that cheating? Some GMs might. It's like, it's supposed to be you as the heroes. And I'm like, no, but we're the ones who inspired a continent to fucking pick up arms and march to the mountain. And it's like, but we did. We're the ones who are doing it. And it's like, it turns into a bigger situation. I've also given them other traps where it looks like there's no hope. And they're like, can we do this one thing? I didn't contemplate that one. And because I was fast on my feet, it turned into a situation. Yes, at the surface, it looks like there's no hope. There's no way out. There's no good choice. But come on. This is the whole point of playing a role-playing game, is watching the players use their creativity. And when they can find a new solution out, you don't punish them for being creative. You don't punish them for thinking of a new solution or a different way to use a spell or use a cyberware item or use a gun in a very creative fashion or use a spaceship as one player did, use a spaceship as a battering ram. And because they realize this is the penultimate moment of the campaign. There's no point going past this. You know what? We're calling down a rod from God. You don't have an orbital artillery piece. No, but we do have a light corvette that we can sprint down at orbital velocities down into the fortress. And I'm like, I did not expect that. Okay. You do know it's going to cause like we know, Blaine. You've done the math. You'll figure out what the yield of the impact is. We expect you to do that, and I'm like, okay, congratulations. Okay, shit changes. It's like, because much like Kirk, he cheated, but he found a way out of the solution. Much like same movie that produced that no-win situation. How would you lie, cheat, and steal? I mean, this is the whole point of a game is to have your players think. And if you put them in a situation where there's no obvious way out, they're going to find a solution. Unless you got dumb players. If you got dumb players who just sit there and go, well, I guess I'm going to die. Kill them. Because you know what? They're dead. But guess what? I have not met many players who just kind of go, well, I guess everything's on the wall saying I better die. I can't run away. I can't fight. I can't. And then, you know what? Bad player, murder them. But most of us, I feel, don't have dumb players or don't have an entirely dumb group. They're going to think of a solution. And even if and as a GM, if you don't leave an option for a solution, well, you're a dick. I mean, if you set up an impossible trap and they leave no solution, congrats. You're a bad GM. Yes, I may set up a situation where there's no good options, but I'm going to leave the option for if you surprise me, pull something amazing out of your ass. Because I guess I'm used to playing with players who don't just play tactical swing fight. Swing fight. Here's my magical grenade spell, magical bullshit games, where you have to think more creatively. I have played a lot of games that are more the storyteller focused. The Ambers, the Mages, the Vampires, the Seventh Seas, all these games where you have to think a bit more than just simply, I move my 5-foot step, I take my 2 actions and my 1 free action, and now I have my reaction that allows me to do this. I have 14 attacks of opportunity, and that's my combat turn until it's my next initiative round, and then I go do it again. I guess because I've used the players who think outside the box, who plan, plot, scheme, who have shit they're going to pull out. Like, you know what? I have in my pocket this extra dimensional shit that I'm going to pull out of my ass. And they're like, okay, did you? And yes, I do follow the rules rather strictly because as a GM, because I believe in auditing, where if a player goes, that's bullshit, you're just pulling shit out your ass. And then you go, do you want to call for an audit? Yes, I want to know how you fucking did that. And then I can go, all right, here's the books I referenced. Here's the abilities I referenced. Here's the skills I referenced. Here's their gear. Here's how it was made. Here's how the spells that they use. This is their enchantments. This is their actions. This is their action pool. This is how it all works. Do you now understand that I am killing you within the system? And there's no GM fiat here. And then, okay, now that you've passed my audit, I understand. And after you get audited a few times as a GM, and your players go, I trust you that when you're hitting me with a freight train, or that giant swings a bus into my forehead and throws me 400 feet in that direction, that you're probably following the rules. And I'm like, I follow the rules because you follow the rules. Now let's see how you can jury rig the system, and let's see what we can do. And
Instant rod from the heavens.
What's that? What was that?
Instant rod from the heavens.
Hey, I have had players figure out how to do that, and I give them all the fucking pride for them. It's like, look, if my players can figure out how to fire, telephone poles made of tungsten into bad guys, fuck it. Cool. You did all the hard work. I'm not going to punish you by saying no. Now I'm going to say, now find all the materials and congratulations, you figured out the theory. Now put it into practice. And they go, now that's the fun part, because now that becomes a new layer of the game. It's moving away from my entire game is I move 5 feet, I swing a lot, I do lots of damage. I cast the fireballs that cause the explosions and people do burns. That's not fun. Honestly, that's not fun at all. Yes, the game will always degenerate or reduce back down to when as soon as initiative happens, you zoom out from the vast scale you were playing at down to, okay, that 45 caliber bullet going to your forehead will drop you. Congratulations.
I mean,
I gotta show something real quick.
I'll go for it.
Janet had a question. What happens if you keep losing in your game?
Really bad things happen. But you make bad choices, bad things happen.
You make up new characters?
No, if you don't die, because a lot of times I've had players who have been cowards and they escape. They choose self-preservation over death because, as one person put it interestingly, if you always choose death or dishonor, eventually all you're going to have left is the dead and the dishonored. And so sometimes the smart action is to flee, and you might end up with a bad king, an occupation, something terrible, the party ride exploding. Things happen, and sometimes having the party, having you fail at one point only opens the game up to living with the consequences. And consequences aren't bad. A bad consequence, too many of us are always like, I can't ever lose. Losing bad, failure. Sometimes failure happens. Sometimes you gotta suffer a setback or two. Sometimes, if I lose my shit because I made a bad choice, I'm not gonna get pissed. I'm gonna work to reclaim what I did. To either rebuild, improve, or get better. And sometimes, being kicked to the dirt and being, beaten up and thrown in jail or left bloody on a battlefield where you wake up and crawl yourself, somehow you made your stabilization checks, aka, your save versus deaths in older editions, your death saves, or, you managed to not bleed to death in third or Pathfinder, and you just managed to somehow heal up and recover, and then you crawl out of the pile of bodies that were your friends, and then you look at the horrible wasteland and go, well, shit, what do I do now? And now as a GM, I get to go, now what do you do now? And now the player has to think, to work, looking at washing up on shore and watching the pride and joy burn down to the water line and sink into the ocean and go, well, shit, there went my boat. Do you give up on boats? No, I'm a fucking pirate and sailor. I'm going to go steal me a new boat and start the fuck back over. Or shit happens. You pick yourself up and you keep going. If you lose. You only lose if you don't get the fuck back on your feet. It's like it's only a setback. Until your heart stops pounding in that chest of yours, it ain't over.
All right, I'm going to show this real quick.
Yes! And that's when you're out of options, okay? Hitting that is out of options.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
Invasion of the Jerky People?
God damn it.
I have absolutely no idea what I just saw. What was
It's
that?
Invasion of the Jerky People.
Last Starfighter.
So really? Has it been that fucking long? Holy shit.
Yeah. Good.
Hold on there, Shadow. I'll get you squared away here.
So,
I have some funny Russian subtitles at the bottom of the screen, but damn it.
So the one thing that I do want to bring up, there's been a lot of talk about, about allowing them to use books and stuff like that. My rule of thumb has always been, if they ask me if they can use a book, sure, they can use a book. But guess what? I get to use that book too.
Of course.
And that typically makes them good, especially when I get the ear-to-ear grin of, oh, I can use that book now. They usually
Yeah. See,
Draw
guys.
from doing that.
Apparently, the everything that came after second edition is I've never seen it. Okay, I've never owned any of the books, so it's never been an option. All of my books are right there. You know, if my players want to look at them, cool, no problem. It's never been a
Well, all
problem,
that
except back in AD&D when they weren't allowed to use or look at the DMG. That's the way the game was. That's the way it was
well
in the old days. You're not allowed. Period.
the big thing is that you talk about Palladium. Palladium actually set the template for 3.5 with all the additional books. It did.
Again, if they don't
It
read the
did.
books, they're not using the books.
Well, the thing is that, but then you also have those people who, I hate to say it, I'm one of them, is a completionist. If I have one book, I want them all. They're like
Ditto.
Pokemon.
Ditto.
I must throw my balls at everything, all right?
Yeah, I'm still looking for Palladium books. But like the old expression, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And I'm damned if I'm going to loan my books out, because as the great writer once said, only your friends steal your book. The only books missing from my collection that I've never owned are the ones that my players borrowed and I never got back. So they want to read my books at the table, cool. They want to go out and buy their own books, cool, no problem. Do I use everything in Palladium? Yes, I even had a big discussion with Heathen Dog, who said, no, you only use one book. You don't use all the world books. No, I use them all. And, that's a whole nother story. But if my players want to read the book, want to get stuff out of the book, that's not a problem. If they got the money, they can try and find it. But making them read, that's a whole nother thing.
Well, I think most players will eventually turn into DMs. Not all players, but most players.
I can think of 5 out of 6 that never even contemplated it.
I started as a player and became I don't know. I'm not going to compare numbers with you, but just using the example that
I played literally one time before I became a DM.
I'm just I know the rules and everything, the regulations on how the game should have been or turned to been or how it is going to be has changed over the years. If you run in society, or I think eventually get the same way, you get handbook and one other book. You don't get to bring in 35 books. You get 2 books. And these are the 2 books that you get to use for this character. Now,
And see, the thing is that, and we'll get back to the topic here in just a minute. It's just that I wanted to get through everything and touch on this, but not all DMs have a chokehold on their game. I'll call it as I see it, and thinking and being naive enough to think that they aren't going to look at other books in the system is in this day and age, it's completely off base. 10, 20 years ago, yes. But current day, when they can go to drive-through RPG, they can go through, the Big Geek now, different places and pick up books for, a lot cheaper than what they could, at their local game store.
I wish that was the case with my players. But 4 out of my players don't even watch my channel. They don't have the time.
And that's the thing is that we're looking at every table is going to be different. That is your table. That's what works for yours. My table, they almost rioted on me when I said they could only use the player's handbook in a couple of games and everything else. But they said, but we really like using these other books because it helps us flush the character out, especially with some of the background that I want to use for this character. So, and that's the thing is that that's just how I feel on it. Is trying to put a stranglehold on players and being naive that they are not going to look at other books.
You told me I can't do
Is-
something. I'm going to tell
I'm
the one
gonna
to go do it. Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You're not my life manager.
I will
Exactly.
I will bend reality to figure out how to do it.
So
I'm gonna break something out here in just a second. When there's time to read it, I will read it. But
okay,
it
you're also looking at first and second edition.
right,
Those
which
are not,
is
and hold on, those are not the only games out there.
clearly
Bear none of what people like Max, people other people within our group say. They talk mad shit about 3035 Pathfinder. That is the system I started with. This is a system I love. Yes, it's crunchy as hell. Yes, it has a million books. But you know what? That's how I like it. And everyone keeps throwing it in our face of, well, first and second edition, this is the way it is, and that's the only way it is. No, it's not. It's the way it is for you. It's not the way it is for me. Play the game how you want to play it at your table. But quit telling me that I'm wrong, because the first and second edition is out there too. I don't want to play it. I've looked at it. I don't. I'm sorry. Too much math for Thaco. No, sorry. And whatever it's easy to do. I don't. I don't have the time to learn it. Period.
That's
First
only
edition-
combat, and that's
first-
one
first-
microscopic aspect.
Actual. Okay.
So, hold on. I'm not done with my rant.
Okay.
In a minute.
All right.
And first edition, I'm sorry, does not have enough crunch for me at all. It's like eating a lettuce sandwich without lettuce. There's no crunch.
No bread. No bread.
No, it's only bread. No crunch.
No mayonnaise?
I love bread.
So, me personally, we keep talking. Everyone keeps throwing out the first and second edition argument. And I'm sorry. I'm a 3035 Pathfinder guy. And I can tell you right now, Connell is, Jade, that's where he started too. That's where, over half of us started with the game. Gaming in general is with 3035.
And
And
I'll say this. I played a lot of second ed. I ran a lot of second ed and a lot of rule cyclopedia, but our games always seemed to top at around 8th to 10th level because the players would get bored of their characters. And I think that was kind of my fault because I didn't help the game out by giving a ton of house rules to vary your character up after you hit Lord level. But there were a lot of people I knew that they never played above 7th or 10th level. They just never did. They would just start the game over and they'd start a new character. This is the son of Dirk the Daring, and my character from last game, and this is the daughter of Evane, the amazing slut. They would just start that, and well, we got up to where you guys are like, all right, fuck this, because we're not leveling up every 10 sessions. It's now we're leveling up every year and a half, and they didn't want to play that way.
Yeah, I don't know how that's possible, but
So, third edition, the thing about third edition was it made high-level play, mid-level to high-level play really viable. And I know that a lot of people don't like that, and that's okay. You don't have to. But that's still going to be the tool set that I derive most of my gaming from, because it does a good job of running a character from 0 to hero. And I want that big arc. I want that. I was Luke Skywalker on Tatooine. I used to fix busted droids that would get overheated in the sand. Now I do trench runs and I bullseye holes in the machinery like a womp rat, And I think that's a fun game, and that you go from 0 to fucking hero, like a 20th level, like I'm a force to be reckoned with guy. That's cool. That's why I like 3.0. And there's more than just Dungeons and Dragons out there. to be sure. I've not met a game yet that inspires me to run for 2.5 to 5 years like this has. And I hate to say that because there are some very talented GMs out there that have written books like Deadlands and many others, but I've not been tempted to bite that bullet yet. Sorry.
All right, let me read this real quick so you guys know where I'm coming from and where I will always come from. This is the way I'm always going to referee, and I'm not alone. I'm just alone here right now. This is the way it's always been in my eyes when it comes to the difference between a referee and a player. And yes, I have to put on my old man glasses because it's tiny ass print. This is the afterword from page 230 of the original Dungeon Master's Guide, which is the original book on the subject. Okay?
And hold be thy name.
Exactly. Now, there is a point here Max and I totally disagree with, but it's only one word change. It is the spirit of the game, not the letter of the rules, which is important. Never hold to the letter written, nor allow some barrack room lawyer to force quotations from the rule book upon you. If it goes against the obvious intent of the game, as you hew the line with respect to conformity to major systems and uniformity of play in general. Also be certain the game is mastered by you and not by your players within the broad parameters given in the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons volumes. You are creator and final arbiter by ordering things as they should be. The game as a whole first, your campaign next, and your participants thereafter. You will be playing Advanced Dungeons & Dragons as the way it was meant to be. You may find as much pleasure in doing so as the rest of us do.
For a crowd of 20 people.
I don't give a fuck how many people it is.
That's how, I mean, when the game first got started, it was for a minute amount of people. Minute.
Also,
did you even listen to what I said? It's the spirit of the game, not the rules. The spirit of the game.
Now,
that means the referees plan.
So then what?
Okay.
So then why use that engine at all? Why not just play it off the cuff on whatever engine you wanted to? It's the spirit of the game.
Because it can literally be for any game. It's not even from what I understand, even third, fourth, or fifth have said similar things that any rule is discardable by the DM. Is that not the case?
Well, the thing is that
wait, like Kai before he blows up, like Kai said.
Okay, I understand that's what it is. Now, because we had to come back to every table, we have to come back to a very basic concept, which is simply that the social contract of the group and table. If you have a group of players who the social contract is the GM is a complete is an arbitrary god, and the rules are just make believe. Whatever I feel like saying is allowed, kind of crap. They just kind of go, well. The rule book is not really important because the GM can fuck me over at any point by saying, no. Yet last session the fireball exploded in a certain thing, but this session, because I am the arbitrator of the rules and the spirit of the game is fuck you, eat a dick. If
you're a dungeon master,
But that is the okay. But if you want to interpret to GM is the only one who gets to have any kind of fun and say, then yes, you have to accept if one day the GM goes, fireball is now sprinkles and fairy dust, and everybody's healed by it because I said so. Meanwhile, but if your social contract is everyone is also following the rules, that becomes the spirit of the game for that table. So for us who are completionists, who like having access to 4,000 options, who we want to have a role-playing game that looks like a Lego box that you just dumped out and I can build whatever I fucking want, and the players can build whatever their imaginations say to become the heroes they want, not the heroes that were arbitrarily set in stone by a dead guy in Wisconsin 50 fucking years ago.
That just sounds like it's the other way around. Then the players are more important, and the referees there just to basically, give them a hand job during the game.
The players is that there is no GM is better than players. Players are not better than the GM. You are all working as a group to create a fun game. You are the referee. You set up the referee. So if your players want more options, you can be a cunt and tell them, no, you can't have more options, and your players will get bored and say, fuck you, I'm going to go find a better game. And now your table dies because your players have gone off to go find a better game. Your campaign withers and dies because your players would want something and you are not providing it. The basis of capitalism. Players have a want, you are the provider. You don't provide, they will find something better. They will always find something. What was that?
That's where trust has to come into play.
And that's
the players have to trust the GM.
Yes, and so they have to trust. So I have to trust that they're not going to go out of their way to ruin the game. They have to trust that I'm going to be fair. And by being fair is I'm not going to just throw shit randomly at them without having put some thought behind it. It's all about trust and fairness. It comes together as two parts of a puzzle. If you come into it thinking that you are the GM, you are the arbitrator because some fucking dead guy said so in a book, and that you get to say whatever it is, and everyone else has to supplicate to you on their knees and suck your dick because, well, you're the only one who gets to decide if they get to have fun or not this week or this month.
Yeah, but someone has to be the referee. Someone has to be in charge.
Yes. But, okay, the referee is the one who's moving all the pieces in the world. The players are the ones who are playing in that world. In the end, the players are the ones who are actually playing the game. And I've had an argument with a goddamn, I'm glad he's no longer around, fucking cocksucker, who decided that all of these social things, all these talky-talk good things that we go into, that these moral quandaries, these role plays, these things that players want to have options to be able to do more cool things. Well, I was told that is not what D&D is about. D&D is about being a brainless automaton walking through the puzzle that the referee has thrown on the table. If you are not playing the game as I have left town to buy supplies, I have moved to the dungeon. The dungeon is a set of 5x5 stone square room, iron tiles on a floor, and we are moving around in a tactical environment, knocking on doors to alert the next enemy because I want the enemy to come into my kill zone and I don't walk into theirs. If you are not playing the game in a purely dungeon crawl mentality, you are not playing the older editions correctly. But I want to do some smart role play that we don't have rules for that. You just do whatever you want, and you just have the proficiencies you think you have. Well, I think my character is actually very well proficient and very well rounded and very skilled at damn near everything. Well, that doesn't make sense. Thus, proficiencies came into the fucking play. And because we had too often of players going, well, I think I'm actually a master mariner. I'm also an amazing mountain climber. I can also forge and repair armor, and I can survey the land to build me a castle and mine at the same time. My character, I think, is amazing, because that's what I've deemed my role-playing. You have no way of saying that because you're playing an elf. But not an elf fighter, elf. Congratulations, you've got nothing to work with. This is why we've added over the years, over the decades, things like non-weapon proficiencies, why skills were added to the game, because depending on players to actually A, have an idea what they're doing, B, not doing everything is kind of crap. It comes to, like, even in Amber, we at least had an idea what your background is, and you put some thought into it. But since we don't give any idea, but we don't like giving the idea of making backgrounds. Ooh, that's going to get all crunchy and rules. Fuck no. I want to know what my background. I want to know all this shit. I want to put effort into my backstory. I don't want to just be playing around. I don't want to be playing some fucking generic, bland painted lead miniature moving around a map where I go and stab some orcs because the orcs are in the room. Now I go to the next room and a random encounter occurs. And now there's I don't know why. There's some lizards in there. I don't know why. Okay, demons, minor demons, but hey. And you're just going around having a hack and slashy fest. And I've had this fight with
like a game of Dungeon.
What was that?
This sounds like a game of Dungeon. Boring as fuck.
But that's
Walk around hacking shit.
Yeah, I assure you,
But that's exactly what asshole who's no longer around, who shut up and names, he pissed everybody off, fucking told me that, no, if you want to have role-playing, characterization, personality, ooh, that's taking, you're not playing the game part of it. Bullshit! The game is fucking, I'm sorry, you just played some Cowboys and Indians bullshit. Yeah, you're right. I fucking am. You know what? But because some of us want to have more shit, some of us want to have a crafting system that isn't garbage. Some of us want to have the ability to run a kingdom that isn't just simply, I better hope my GM is a fucking master's in medieval history. I better hope my GM has a master's degree in fucking economics, so that way I can actually run a role-playing game that's a little bit more depth than a kiddie pool that someone pissed in. I mean...
Hey, Kai?
Yeah?
I gotta ask.
Yeah?
Like, the books are great.
Yes.
But, as a DM, there's a joy to creating your own society for your own games.
Yep.
And putting together your own little folder or attaché, and you have the opportunity to build a history for them. It doesn't have to be super detailed. A few paragraphs, maybe. If you're feeling spirited, go ahead, hit like 10 pages. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And the thing is that as a DM, you want to differentiate your game from all the other 730 Roll20 sponsored or Roll20 option second edition AD&D games that are currently available this week. And so what you can do is you don't have to handcuff yourself to the 70 rule books that are out for this edition or the 500 periodicals that were made during this run of the magazine or of the edition of the game you're playing. But as a DM, there's this wonderful thing where you get to make up your own rules, have a file for house rules. Here's what we have for this game. I've curated these over a few thousand pages of reading fine literature and Andre Norton and some Anne McCaffrey. We don't talk about Ursula K. Le Guin. Anyway, we have these options. As a DM, you can say, I don't mind the Elves Handbook for my second edition AD&D game. Yeah. But I'm not using any of the rules in there. I'll use all of the fluff, though.
Oh, God, yes.
But I'm not using any of these rules. These rules are shit. And these rules don't mean anything to me because I've seen what happens at level 10 with your Elven Cleric, Elven Fighter Mage, your Elven Blade Sector.
And at that point, it's the players who sync the game.
You want to actually curate your game and make it to where it is your own game. You've made it your own, and you started to add house rules, and you've started to bring in things that will keep it going past 8th or 10th level.
Yeah.
Because I want players to not get tired of our game. I want players to actually enjoy our camaraderie and our talking shit. And I want people to actually enjoy the thought of coming back and playing again. And so I don't want to give them cookie cutter options from over 70 different rule books that TSR wrote during the Lorraine Williams period. I don't want to force them into creating some bastard monstrosity out of some ill-thought Dragon magazine that they had 3 days to write an article. Fuck, put something together, Tommy. Okay.
Yeah.
But as a DM, you get to obsess about your game when you're on the shitter, or when you're at your job stacking lumber or getting fries for the drive-thru, or if you are a lawyer and you have a moment to think about how you're going to run your battle tech, you get a chance to say what year you're running it in and what optional rules are in play. And I don't want to have people just think they only have the rules that are written by somebody in fucking Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. That's the holy grail of our fucking hobby.
I know.
No, I don't
and yet, Bruce, you just translated what he said. I appreciate that.
My counter,
this wasn't coming from Gygat.
My one counter caveat off that real fast, Bruce, will be the thing is that it's really awesome that we get to sit on shitters or in our trucks and think about this shit and create all our cool stuff for ourselves. But the thing is, unless you write that down and then make it available to your players, this is a two-way street. Your players, unfortunately, do not get to know all the secret shit that you've got. All they've got to work with when they're sitting there thinking about their plans and their actions on how they're going to cheat the code, cheat death, cheat the environment, and beat the odds. All they've got to work with is the tools that you provide them. So if you only provide them with a player's handbook to work with, they only have the very limited toolbox to contemplate how to win. And out of the player's handbook, the only I win button that you have is, well, I guess I'm going to wait for when I get to cast Miracle/Wish, and that's the solution to all problems is pray for a miracle. But the thing is, but your players I get to spend all week driving in a truck all day thinking about what I'm going to do as I get to my next stop, or I'm on the road listening to some lecture on ship maintenance or something, and I'm thinking, I have a cool adventure I can build off of something like this, or I can do a cool adventure on the ineptitudes of a system that's gone corrupt, and my players unfortunately can either have nothing to do, nothing to think about, nothing to process, nothing to work with, because I've given them no tools, or they can sit back and go, I do have access to A, B, C, D, E, and F. I can start to think. They can start to work and plan and come up with solutions. Because I've read those 6 books. I know what's in those 6 books, but I might not think of the cool solutions. I'm thinking of cool scenarios that I want to run, and they're thinking of cool things they can do. So that way, they're not coming into the table and going, I have no idea what my character can really do. No, they've got an idea because they've used the tools that were provided and are available. If I make 40 books available to people and they choose to read none of them, that's not on me. That's on them. I've already told them what I've made available, and if I'm going to make a custom rule, I'm going to throw that custom rule at people so that way it's out in the wild. They know what's going to happen. So they know when I use that rule, they're going to be able to use the rule as well. Because there's no such thing as any rule that I use, they get to use too. So over time, you build up a body of house rules that has to become available to people. It cannot be an oral tradition where, I forgot to tell you that in house rule number 42 that I came up with, the sky is purple. No, it's not. It's blue. Or it's clear. Welcome to the diffraction rules. And so it comes down to you have to, if you put in work to make the thing silly, interesting, or custom, you got to write it down and make it available because the rules need to be known for everyone available. And it's like there's a new rule that it's a new secret. I'm going to ambush them. You got to realize that rule has to be consistent from one session to the next. If I say this is what allows flight to happen, if the players do that, they should gain flight because I've established this is the rules that you should be following. I can choose to give no rules, but the moment I start saying this is what has to be done, it's now for them, and I have to be consistent, internally consistent, because that's how you're a fair GM. You can just say, I said so, I'm an asshole. Congratulations, you're an asshole.
Jade, I don't know why I said Jade. Kai, you're assuming some things that just aren't accurate about me, at least. I don't do that. And any ruling that I make that isn't already written down usually gets written down. My players are going to remember these things even if it's not written down. And there's a reason why I've been able to run the same campaign for, decades, and they still come back. I'm not an asshole, and I'm not out to get them. If anything, it's probably the opposite.
Then congratulations, you're one of the good GMs. Congratulations, you're one of the great GMs. But you got to realize that when you start going out into the wild west, onto the net, and start listening to find other groups, this is not a common thought. This is not a common attitude. A lot of people just kind of go with the book is law, you have to follow it, or welcome to my magical realm and magical bullshit. I know
probably one of the reasons why I play other games besides D&D, but the same sentiment is going to be present. I have an idea of my universe, and they're there to explore it and make use of it. It is a sandbox. I don't do railroad. I don't run pre-planned modules. I don't do any of that crap. It's up to them. What do they want to do? And then I'm going to, throw challenges in their way. I'm not going to try to fuck them ever, because that's the surest way to kill not only a 30+ year friendship, but also a great campaign. These guys that are my regular players, they're not going to another DM ever. Okay, they'll go away, but they keep coming back to play because we have built up a rapport, a trust, loyalty, friendship over decades. We've watched each other's families grow and shrink. We've been to each other's family funerals, the whole bit. It's not like the regular gamers out there that are fly by night. They play 8 games and they're done. Okay, you're going to find that with the older and the oldest of gamers. That's the way it is. It's not just a game. And it's not just a social construct or a social contract. We're part of each other's lives, and this is what we do in addition to the other things we do that make us friends. It's not going to go away. Maybe that's the issue with a lot of people that I come in contact with on the internet is they don't have those connections, those other reasons for staying. They don't like the game, they leave, and you never hear from them again. I'm still going to bump into these people, for the rest of my life. And, eventually, I will have new players, but I'll always have the old players until I have to bury them. And I've buried, gamer friends of mine. It's not pleasant, but all the same people were there. And, one of these days they'll be at my funeral, and that'll be the day they stop playing.
It's funny.
I'm the best, Janet.
I kind of want to throw this out, and I'll be quiet. I think it's kind of funny in the sense that gaming, in senses like music. But hear me out. You start off with an edition, and that's the edition you like. It'd be first edition. So you like Elvis or J. Lee Lewis or anybody of that generation. Then as the game goes on, there's more, and it's like, I don't like it because it doesn't have the same fit as the first one, or it doesn't sound, the music doesn't have the same soul that it used to, or I don't like that person because they have spiky hair and cone-shaped boobs. Whatever. Madonna. It was a Madonna comment. So then you have
I
kids.
thought you were talking about somebody else, but that's funny too.
Then you have kids, and your kids are like, I like glamour rock. I like 3-point, I like 3rd edition. Now your kids are having kids, and it's now
One day it'll be you too.
right.
Yeah, but my son's already playing in a 5e game. Yeah, you don't hear me trying to stop that. I wanted you.
Is you find older generations bitch and complain, and not so much you. I've heard from a lot of other people that don't like the things that change. The music doesn't sound like music anymore. The popcorn doesn't taste like popcorn anymore because it's not made the way that the older generation wants it. Well, take that kernel, shove it up your ass in a hot plate, and get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, I'll be dead soon enough. Don't push me any closer, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I don't wish for death for anybody.
I do, but no.
Well, I do. I'm a horrible human being. A great dungeon master, but a horrible human being.
Actually, I before I came on and made chicken noodle soup tonight, I just scraped the altar clean because the fucking sacrifice went wrong. But anyway,
Yeah.
Just you guys say the comment was made. Gnomes can't be paladin in 2nd edition. Yes, they can. People don't like that book, but it does exist. Non-human races can be paladins in 2nd edition.
They can be paladins in any edition.
Right, but when you have players,
Except first.
first.
That's not true either. I just read the paragraph that says they can.
By the spirit.
I like that answer.
Yeah, if you've got a good GM, he's going to read the room. If that smoking hottie wants to play a gnome paladin, guess what's going to happen?
You get gnomes.
Right?
You get
Just say it.
gnomes.
See,
You get gnome paladins with unicorn.
Real quick,
You
guys,
can guarantee that's going to happen.
we're starting to come up to the 2-hour mark, so we did kind of go a little off the rails here. I do apologize about that. I kind of headed that up, and we all just kind of put our arms up.
I just think if we would have picked the other topic.
Oh dear God, we would have been far worse. I would have liked that one too.
oh, the religion aspect of gaming.
We'll just save that for next week. This is a warm-up.
So, we're on fire.
Yes, come back to Tablebreakers, where you'll see Tablebreakers blow up at each other every 5 seconds. Kaboom! Kaboom! Kaboom!
And just so you folks at home understand one thing, we may disagree incredibly, but you know what? We're all still friends. We're all going to be back here next week. Kai can say worse shit to me. I've heard worse. Okay,
Debatable. Yeah.
You trust me.
Oh no!
Long-haired hippie.
I am a long-haired hippie. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we resemble that remark.
Exactly.
And just for the record, I love each and every one of you like brothers.
That's
So
right.
If there's any, people out there going, "Oh my God, what the hell just happened?" This is what family does. Okay, get used to it.
I'm angry over stupid reasons.
Hey, really quick.
No.
And I guarantee you, Kai, I guarantee each and every one of you, if you were in one of my first E games,
I'd enjoy
love
it.
it.
I would.
You absolutely would. It's not about dicking the players. It's about making them happy. But happy doesn't mean, jerking them off under the table and giving them, all the treasure they could ever want.
That's
Okay.
Wait.
This is a strippers guild meeting. What?
I thought that I didn't know that was an option.
Where do I sign?
You're going to have to find a completely different table.
No.
And I think that table, Kai, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kai, but I think that table is actually in the past in a feudalistic Japan.
Possibly.
Right.
Possibly. I'll run that game.
On that fucking
What were you going to
note,
say, Jade?
We're done here.
Have your back. Because we know you, Jay. We know why you left. We're not going to call you out for it, but we know why you left.
And
There was no way of segueing myself into any of those conversations, so I just saw my way out. I went to the chat instead.
I'm sorry.
I can't do that. That's not fair, man. I can't do that. I'm just a boomer with a freaking $200 tablet trying to make shit work.
I just want to throw this out there. I want to throw this out there. The Bears are tied up with the Vikings and the Packers suck. That's just why I want to throw in there.
Yay!
I can agree
Packers
with
are
that
actually
last
packing. They're
Janet.
going home.
Janet, you should be here more often. And yes, we promise you will love it. Because if not, then Bruce will come over here and try and kick my ass. And I don't want him to have to drive to California. Because if the sheriff can't keep him safe, nothing can.
Putting 20 hours on the damn road. Gotta drive to
It's not that
mess.
it's not that I'm against players of first edition or second edition D&D. I just, I started with third edition. I played second edition one time. I played first edition one time, and it just wasn't something I could get into. And it might be because of the game masters I had. And as far as the comment about, giving players like copious amounts of treasure and whatnot, that became a thing in 3E because the monsters that they had to fight needed ways around their protections, their innate protections, their spell resistance. They needed some kind of edge other than literally nothing. And that's why treasure became so focused in third edition and Pathfinder. It's because the monsters have certain requirements you have to exceed to be able to confront them at the same level or at the same power level, and that's why it became so magic item centric. And everyone wants to say,
Jade.
"Oh, it's a travesty."
It was me, Jade. I used to give out my players pages of magic items all the fucking time. Never bothered me at all.
Well, and players like having really cool shit. They really do. You give players these amazing magic items, and they just really love having them because they get to do super cool things.
It's no different than a Traveler game. Nobody complains when you get tons of equipment in Traveler. It's just the tools you get to work with.
That's right.
Right.
And
Janet,
I'm guessing Janet's a Black Beauty gal as opposed to a unicorn gal. That's just a guess.
What?
Well, I mean, those tools that you hand out to the players in the form of magic items will facilitate further adventures and further combat or entourages with beings that most people or most NPCs should never even come up against because they just don't have the equipment to take it on. I can probably with the leadership feat in 3.5 take an army of several thousand first level commoners against a adult red dragon. I can probably succeed and never actually swing my sword once because 20,000 commoners, how many of them are going to roll an actual 20 and get a critical hit in? So yes, I could do that, but I don't need special equipment. I just need the feat. But having that equipment facilitates higher levels of play against beings that normally you should never even be able to go toe to toe with. So that's why the magic items are so essential in like 3.5 forward.
All editions really, Jade. They give you abilities that you can't get otherwise sometimes.
Right.
And they also make the difference where if you took a 10th level fighter in old D&D and he had no magic items, he could probably kill that red dragon. But
yeah, he could.
You give magic items to a lower level party, then they start thinking they can do it now, and then you get those TPKs that we all love so much.
Because they made poor choices.
Right. And Bruce, real quick, take a good look. Yes, my troll is carrying a cow.
as it should be.
Moo. Not done painting it, but he's carrying a fucking cow. And this one is being ridden by a goblin.
What figure is that? What set is that from?
Dungeons and Lasers, dude.
Anyway.
I know.
All right, so as we're starting to come to a close here, we've hit that 2-hour mark. What do we have going on this week? We're going to start with Jay.
So I have been an absolute failure of getting in front of the camera, either through lack of time or me just having really bad days and stumbling over every single word that comes out of my mouth. And I do my game mastery videos in one take. So it's really hard when I just start stumbling for 2 to 3 hours. It takes to record, and I'm like, nope, gotta cut it off. So I end up releasing like Beneath the Door. I think on part 7 of Beneath the Door, and if I don't actually put out a game mastery video, I'm going to put out Beneath the Door part 7 instead. So there is only 2 more parts of Beneath the Door, and then I'll get into a 3-parter of Doom Vault after that.
Jay, do you have them on a playlist?
Yes, they are in a playlist. The game mastery playlist only has currently 1 video in it, and I've had at least 1 person from chat had a discussion with him or them, because I don't know I know them as L, only L. They might be a Death Note fan. I'm not sure. But either way, I've only got the 1 video in the Game Mastery playlist, but I have all 6 parts of Beneath the Door in a playlist for that.
How
Good.
dare you?
Because I think I've missed 2 of them, and I don't want to have to go back, and I can just listen to it as a thing.
Oh, Simon is.
All right, Bruce, what do you got coming up this week?
Well, if I have the chance to make it into tomorrow night's chill stream, I will. Last week, yeah. So tonight was this was a discussion. So D&D is a discussion game. D&D is a discussion game because you're constantly having a transaction of work between you and another player, or you and a DM are trading ideas. You're giving answers, asking questions. It's always like that. This weekend, if I don't make it Friday, you'll see me Saturday on my own channel. I will be running a table for the current Pathfinder game we're playing, and we'll be having a resume. It'll be resuming to a game that we stopped 2 weeks ago, and I'm telling you that we also have a new player joining our ranks, and we're all waiting to see how our new half-elven cleric, played by Janet from Another Planet, will fit in with the group. I think it's going to be a wonderful adventure. Aside from the fact that the town that the party is in is getting sieged by thousands of hobgoblins and lots of magic, it's going to work. So I hope you guys come by and see it. And next Monday, this coming Monday, Janet has chosen for us to watch Clash of the Titans for our Monday night discussion on a girl, a guy, and a movie.
Which version?
1981.
The good one.
You mean the Woody one? Watching all the runners.
When I see the young boy's mother, yes. Woody addiction achieved.
So you're watching the first 5 minutes of the show, cutting it and calling it good. I understand.
But I'm telling you, this is one of the greatest movies of all time, because the first 5 minutes it shows you boobs, and then young Perseus grows up into a man, and he gets his quest, and you meet Zeus, who fucks up everything in the cosmos, and then Ray Harryhausen steps out from behind the screen for a little bit. He puts some figures on the battlefield. You get to watch those, and that's amazing. you get to see Medusa, then you get to see a Kraken, and you get to see a lot of stuff over the next 90 minutes. It is the greatest movie of all time. There is a 9-year-old kid inside me that loves this movie.
Just make sure he doesn't get a splinter.
Dude, I'm well past that. Look at these calluses.
Okay.
I'm sure we've lost a whole tree somewhere in here. So, and I'm telling you that I'm very happy that we have Janet in tonight's chat. If you guys can give her a happy welcome that we have, because she's here, and I do appreciate having my co-host vacillate between various streams I do. And I'll try to get over to watch her stuff.
Bruce, you go ahead and throw her link in the chat.
Yes.
While I move on, everyone definitely go out and check out Janet. She is awesome. Kai, what do you got going on this week?
I work. I'm trying to set up an art desk. Hopefully get a suit finalized. Work. I'm not sure. And then show up here next week.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay, for the 2'3" dwarf, and he's always walking tall. Connell, what are you doing this week?
I'm a proper 5'9", there, good sir. Fuck off.
He's 1'4".
This weekend, I will be hanging out with the one and the only Bruce and Shadow and a bunch of other numbnuts. I mean, great people. And we will be playing Pathfinder until the cows come home, or until my wife says no more for this tonight. Whichever comes first.
All right. Anything else you got going on?
Later on that night, I will probably be hanging out with Shadow, as we're talking about all things sci-fi, weirdness stuff.
Not tonight.
Saturday night.
No, not Saturday night. I'm out of minutes, bud. It's straight over Nathan's.
Then I will be doing something Saturday night, because I haven't really done much this month so far. So we will be talking about random bullshit on my show. So check me out. My name is Connell, the Cigar DM. I don't listen to this fuck nut over here. We'll be past that guy into the next guy. I am 5'9" and hung like a horsefly. That's what needs to be remembered. Hung like a horsefly. Fuck off! I quit.
Well,
Wow.
now, but he's still a dwarf and walking tall, so that's all that matters. Also, everybody, all of our links are in the description. Make sure you go check us all out. Shadow, sir, what do you have
Save the
going
best
on this
for
week?
last. Yeah, sure, no problem. I got a video tonight with the sun. It's cool.
I knew Bruce had the Saturday thing, and I know you both in there. That's the reason I bypassed Connell. Then I gave Kai, because I knew, kind of that filler, and then went to Connell. So,
Yeah, I've got a video tonight with my son. We're going to make a doomsday device on camera. Then my son tonight wants to do like a religion and politics stream on his brand new channel. I'll throw that link in Discord, but I think he's asking for, a world of pain. Obviously, Friday we're all going to hang out with Max on his chill stream. Saturday, normally I have a video. Let's face it, folks, I have like 2 or 3 videos a day now. You can find me somewhere out there in TV land. By the end of the night, I'll have been on like 5 channels. So, yeah, I'm just a whore. I'm just out there everywhere.
You heard it. He's a whore.
Yeah. And Saturday, I won't be doing my regular sci-fi chat because I'm going to be hanging out with Nathan Allen on the Quantum Show, talking about UFOs and aliens, Bigfoot, and tarot cards and all kinds of weird shit. So if you're into that, you know where to go. Look up Nathan Allen. You'll find him. Look up the Quantum Show. And then Sunday, I'll be going to a car show and maybe putting out a video. We'll see.
Hey, Shadow, if you want
All
to,
right.
if you want to, Shadow, you can put Nathan's link into the private chat, and I'll post
Hey,
it.
I don't know how to do that shit.
Yeah, he's a boomer.
No, my tablet doesn't copy paste.
Okay.
It only does it for the StreamYard.
All right. And last but not least, myself, I will be on Twitch tomorrow night for a little bit. Then I may show up on the Friday Chill stream Saturday. I may have 2 streams on Saturday. One of them being on Twitch, the other being here on the YouTube. We are doing our second episode of Cyberpunk Red. It actually it is a fairly good game, fairly easy to pick up game. So if you guys haven't seen anything with that and you kind of want to feel out what that kind of looks like, definitely tune in. And everything else, Sunday is kind of up in the air. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming or not. I think I have laundry to do, so I think Sunday may be laundry day. But I may be doing that while I'm streaming. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much what my plans for the weekend are. I'm not even sure what I'm streaming tomorrow. It's either going to be Scum or Minecraft. I haven't been told yet. But
What's Scum?
Scum is a survival building game. There's a lot of they're not zombies, they're puppets. They're controlled by people outside of the island. You're on an island in like Yugoslavia.
Wait, we're on an island.
Yes.
Can I?
You're
play
an
that guy
inmate
from
on an
Braveheart?
island.
I want to play that guy from Braveheart. My island.
No.
Well, they do have a DLC for Danny Trejo.
What?
I will say yes. So you can play as Danny Trejo in the game. Machete, and he actually starts with a machete.
Damn right he does. He was born with one.
Bruce.
Ask his mom.
Bruce.
Yeah.
The good Lord said he can get me out of this one alive, but he's pretty sure you're fucked.
Yeah. It's one of the best Irishmen ever. Guys, I had a lot of fun tonight. I will say that I wasn't expecting to have the level of discourse we had, and I mean, was kind of getting worried there for a second. Don't mind admitting that a little publicly there. I'm like, oh god, they're gonna.
Come on, we're all big boys here.
I know, but whenever I've been around adults before, and sometimes like you think like, okay, well they're just swearing using G-rated words, no big deal, and like the next day you have a "I quit" message on your Discord. What the fuck?
Bruce. I've been shot, stabbed, struck by lightning, and lit on fire and left for dead. This ain't nothing.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to, I don't mind admitting things publicly whenever I'm like, you know what, I gotta be real here. But shit, guys, like I wasn't expecting like the fencing to be that spirited. And I'm watching the chat and had some notes come in. So I'm just saying like, okay, I wasn't the only one thinking like these guys are actually pretty fucking passionate about that. And I actually really enjoyed being here. I really enjoyed being here with the two of you guys going back and forth on that. So
It's not the last. Let's do more.
Well, yeah. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. Maybe we go back on religion and politics.
Less contentious than rule sets. Yes.
How about we don't listen to a guy who's been dead and we go and do our own damn thing?
Fuck you. We're doing it. Fuck whatever I said. I don't believe in it.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this week works out, and I want to know what you guys want to do. If you people in the chat wait for the comments to arrive, i.e., you go and then come back and you leave us a comment in the comment section, that'd be really nice because we would love to have you guys to discuss, what you think you liked about tonight's panel. What did you agree with? What did you disagree with? And
everything.
That's kind of expected. But guys, you're as much a part of the show as the rest of us panelists are, because without the chat, the panel's nothing. Okay, so myself, I appreciate each and every one of you that was here. Thank you for watching me paint my Triceratops. And now I'm getting frocking on there. Anyway, that's not frocking. It's just some good ganja. Anyway, we will be here next week.
Careful. We got age restricted because of that.
What?
Yeah. We pulled out some flocking, and I said that it wasn't what it looked like, and we had an age restriction slammed on us.
Well, thank
Well,
God.
see, that's why you don't. That's why you click the not for children.
Yeah,
It's always been the case.
channel's not for
That's
kids.
always been on our channel. But we actually had
You have to do it on every video.
no, we do. And we still got one of those special age restrictions. They took it off the next day because apparently they actually watched the video. But yeah. So be careful with your flocking.
Yeah, don't flock in the wrong place.
Anybody here want to give a stab at this Latin word that I could do it, but it's going to sound like Timmy the retard.
So
I don't even know that that's Latin.
Parasaurolophus.
Okay. I was going to call her the name from that one movie, The Land Before Time, but
Yeah, that's where Sarah comes from. Is the Parasaurus?
Okay. Well, I've never seen that movie. I need to watch it one of these days.
There's 16 of them.
just watch the first one, and if you don't cry, you're not human.
Yeah.
I never cried.
You know the sad
That
thing
explains
is that,
everything.
I guess I'm not human.
that young girl died.
Yeah, that's why you should cry. No more ducky for you, bastards.
All right.
Hey, but I'm more human than human.
Well, I really appreciate everybody being here in tonight's chat. I had a fun time. We were discussing all the stuff going on during concert. I was like, "That's not a Triceratops." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm counting it now." Cool. We'll be seeing you guys next week. Appreciate you all being here. If you have questions, if you make a good comment or two, we'll be more than happy to read it live on the air next time. L, what? He's like Tammy and a T-Rex. I just like Whoopi Goldberg's finest whenever she had to pay her mortgage. Okay. Janet says, "Thank you for giving me a chance to play." Janet, I think everybody's going to love having you in the group.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
We'd always use another healer.
Just hopefully you enjoy us.
Yeah, that's the thing. Will she come back after the first game?
Oh God, I'm waiting to see what Joe does.
Oh, I miss
Joe. Joe's going to go around. I can tell you right now.
Oh yeah. Oh no. She'll either love Joe or hate Joe. She'll love Joe for his accent, or she'll hate him because of some of the shit he says.
I don't think Joe's going to be the problem.
Probably
to be
not.
honest.
I don't know.
Yeah, just ignore Connell. We all do. We do that short.
Next week we'll be here, and we hope you are too. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Getting picked on board.
Everybody.
Good night, everybody.